Good morning. Welcome dear students. Today I am going to revise lesson 1, The Portrait of a Lady by Khushwant Singh. So before starting the chapter, I am giving you introduction about the author, introduction of the chapter. So let me start. The Portrait of a Lady is written by Khushwant Singh. In The Portrait of a Lady, Khushwant Singh brought life like pen portrait of his grandmother. Khushwant Singh, he was born on 2nd February 1915 and died on 20th March 2014, was an Indian novelist, lawyer, journalist, politician, born and raised in Adali, Punjab, now in Pakistan. He studied law at St. Stephen College, Delhi, King's College, London. After working as a lawyer in Lahore for 8 years, he joined the Indian Foreign Service upon the independence of India from British Empire in 1947. Appointed journalist in the All India Radio in 1951. Then moved to Department of Mass Communication of UNESCO at Paris in 1956. He was decorated with the Padma Bhushan in 1974, but he returned the award in 1984 in protest against Operation Blue Star, in which the Indian Army raided Amritsar. In 2007, he was awarded the Padma Vibhushan, second highest civilian award in India. His journey started from a small village. So, I am giving you the introduction, summary, explanation of the chapter. Appearance of grandmother. In the story, author draws a pen portrait of his grandmother. He beautifully unfolds his relationship with her while describing her appearance, daily activities. In the Portrait of Lady, Khushwant Singh draws a pen picture of his grandmother. He describes how he spent his childhood with her in a small village. He also describes the changes that came in their relationship in the city. Ultimately, he describes the moving scene of her death. Appearance of the grandmother. Author recalls his grandmother as a very old man like other grandmothers, with a wrinkled face. Appeared so old, extreme old, it was hard for him, unbelievable, that she had once been young and pretty. She was short, fat, little stooped in appearance. Author remembers her moving about the house in spotless white saree, counting the beads of her rosary, while her lips moved constantly in silent prayers. She was not pretty in the traditional sense, yet her serenity made her beautiful. So it was hard to believe for the narrator that once she was young and pretty. The very idea was revolting. She had always wrinkled and pale face. She looked the same terribly old lady for the last 20 years. No change was ever visible in her. Narrator had never seen her being young and pretty. Grandmother was extreme old, slightly bent, couldn't stand and walk with her body in an upright position. She had to keep one of her two hands on her waist. She did so to balance her toes. Stooped, grandmother looked extremely old, fat, slightly bent, face was cross of wrinkles. She couldn't have grown older anymore. She looked the same terribly old lady for the last 20 years. But her qualities made her beautiful. Grandmother never appeared to be pretty. She was never an attractive woman physically, but she had a divine beauty in her. Her noble quality gave her spiritual beauty, so she could be beautiful without being pretty. She always wore spotless white clothes. Locks of hair also looked silver white. Spotless white dress, silver white hair made her look like snowy mountains in winter. Actually, she appeared to be an expanse of spotless whiteness. She had a divine beauty. So, in first part, description of the appearance of the grandmother is given. Now I am moving ahead. Initial years of togetherness, life in the village. In the initial years of his life, author lived with his grandmother. They people say old is gold. In childhood, the golden period in men's life. Author lived with his grandmother in a small village, sharing a good friendship. His grandmother used to wake him up in the morning, get him ready for school. She would hand over to him things he required in the school. After having thick stale chapati with butter and sugar for breakfast, they used to leave for school. Grandmother accompanied her grandson to his school. She was so closely attached to her young grandson. She spent most of her time with him. Both of them were like good and intimate friends. They spent most of the time together. She woke him early in the morning, got him ready for school, gave him breakfast of stale bread with a little butter and sugar spread on it. She accompanied him to his school. In school, the priest taught the alphabet and the morning prayer at the village school. He made the students stand in rows on either side. They would sing the alphabet and morning prayer in a chorus. And when their work over, they would walk back home together. Village dogs met them at the temple door. They followed them. Grandmother would throw chapatis to them. Dogs would growl, fight with each other for the crumbs. Grandmother, she used to sit inside the temple, reading holy books while the narrator learned alphabet and prayers in the school. So these shows that grandmother was an epitome of love, care. She was kind-hearted and religious woman. Turning point of their friendship, life in the city. Narrator's parents sent for them in the city. It was the turning point of their friendship. City life and English school made all the difference. She didn't accompany him to his school, nor could she help him in his studies. She didn't like the new English school either. They saw less of each other now. So turning point of their friendship came when they moved to the city to stay. As years rolled by, they saw less of each other. As there were no dogs in the street, she took to feeding the sparrows. Grandmother didn't like the English school in the city. It was totally different from the village school that was attached to the temple. She was set in this church. They didn't teach anything about God and scriptures at the new school, nor was she interested in science. She hated music lessons given in the new school. Now grandmother couldn't help him in his studies. So the village school was quite simple, small. It was attached to the temple. Priest himself acted as a teacher. He taught the alphabet and morning prayer at the school. In comparison, the English school in the city provided a contrast. They gave instructions in school in English, taught modern science and music. They didn't teach anything about God and holy scriptures at the English school. So grandmother was upset. The grandmother, she didn't like that music lesson was given to students. She thought that music was meant only for prostitutes and beggars. It was not meant for gentlefolk. Music was not meant for school children from respectable families. In the village, they had very intimate relationships, but turning point came when they were sent for in the city. Narrator went up to university. Now see, grandmother combat the loneliness by feeding the sparrows. When the author started going to the university, he was given a room of his own. It resulted in further gap between them. Now he was given a room of his own. It made all the difference. Common link of their friendship was broken. They saw very less of each other now. Grandmother would sit in the veranda, breaking the breadcrumbs into small pieces, tiny bits for the sparrows. Hundreds of sparrows would gather around her. They would perch on her lap, shoulders, even on the head. Feeding the sparrows was the happiest half hour of the day for her. In this way, grandmother accepted her loneliness. She kept herself busy in her own routine. Grandmother appeared to be quite normal. Author leaves for higher studies. Author decided to go abroad for further studies. He was sure that his grandmother would be upset at his departure. On the contrary, she came to the railway station to see him off, but didn't show any emotion. She was absorbed in her prayers, telling the beads of the rosary, silently kissed the author's forehead, which the author considered to be supposedly the last sign of their physical contact. Here it means grandmother appeared to be quite normal. She knew that grandson would be away for 5 years. She looked composed, calm, didn't show any emotion. She came to see him off at the station. She kissed him lightly on his forehead before departing. The narrator considered it the last sign of physical contact. He might not see her again. He never expected his grandmother to live for 5 more years. She was still a terribly old lady. Next, author's homecoming on his return after 5 years. The author didn't find any change in his grandmother. She was as old as ever, remained absorbed in her prayer. Even that day, happiest moment for her was feeding the sparrow. Grandmother was really very much excited and happy when the narrator returned back from abroad. She came to the station to receive him. She took him in her arms. She was in a mood of celebration. She collected the women of the neighborhood in the evening, continued beating an old dilapidated drum, sang for hours. She even forgot to pray. The old lady was taken ill. She had a mild fever. Doctor told them she would be all right soon. But the grandmother declared that her end was near. She forgot to pray the last evening. She was not going to waste any more time talking to them. Through diagnosed with a mild fever by the doctor, grandmother knew that her end was near. In last, the family went to make arrangement because grandmother was no more. The sparrows also joined the mourning. They sat in thousands around her dead body. When the family went to make arrangements for the grandmother's funeral, they came with a stretcher, stopped midway to find thousands of sparrows scattered around her dead body. Sparrows mourned the death of grandmother in utter silence, but they ignored the breadcrumbs thrown at them by the author's mother, flew away silently after the body was carried away for cremation. Breadcrumbs were swept away by the sweeper next morning. Old lady tired herself, fell ill. Her death was mourned not only by the narrator's family, but also by the sparrows whom she fed regularly in the afternoon. Then they carried her dead body outside. The sparrows flew away quietly. So, dear students, the first phase of author's relationship with his grandmother started when he was still a child. Old lady used to take care of him, and second phase of their relationship began when narrator started going to city school. It is an English medium school. Turning point came between them. And third phase of their relationship began when narrator's parents sent for them. When there was she realized that no teaching in English school, and English school as there was no teaching about God and scriptures there. Common link of their friendship was snapped. Grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation. In last phase, when grandmother poured all her love when her grandson arrived, and she had realized that her end was near, and she died peacefully. So, here is beautiful description of the pen portrait of grandmother. Narrator had intimated relations with her since his childhood. In what manner turning point came in their relationship with the narrator's parents sent for them in the city, and the change came, turning point in their relations, but the old lady, she remained calm, composed herself. She had accepted her seclusion. and in the end she died peacefully. I hope you can understand well. Keep watching each and every part of the video. Thank you for watching it.